So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy L, and I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. So, top 10 scary Home Alone stories. Yeah, y'all know you gotta hit the Macaulay Culkin. That will forever live. Like, I don't care, man. If your kids never watched Home Alone, the classic of all classics, you should have watched it during Christmas. But the classic of all classics, if you have never let your kids, please let your kids watch it. That's a classic, man. Give them the opportunity to smack themselves in the face and scream in a mirror. You know what I mean? But we're gonna get into this, man, because some strange things happen when you're home alone. Sometimes your mind creates things to start. You hear sounds and different things, and then some things actually really take place. So some of you are probably watching this video home alone. Dare I say it? Home alone. So if you are, please take the time, pause the video. I know the videos be good and you don't be wanting to pause them. Pause the video, go and secure the perimeter. Make sure the doors and windows is locked, bro. Make sure they locked. All right, I want y'all to be safe. And then we're gonna get into this video. This is part 2. I couldn't find part 1. At least you know this time I actually tried to look. I looked for it. Part 1. Normally I just say, this was the first one. Okay, it's part 2. We're going with it. Rock on. But I tried this time. So if y'all see part 1, send it to me. All right, we're going to get into this. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Join the fam. After that, moment of silence for them haters. That's enough. Now run the likes up. Make sure y'all hit that like button.
If you're watching this video because you think it's going to be scary facts about the Home Alone movie, 1 or 2, you're going to be sorely disappointed, I'm afraid. If, however, you want to hear more...
I got a quick question. Which was better, 1 or 2? Let me know.
Stories from real people about times when they were alone in a house and had mind-meltingly terrifying things happen to them, well, you've come to the right place. My name is Danny Burke, and this is the top 10 scary Home Alone stories, part 2. Starting off at number 10 now, we have Great Grandma. This one comes from Captain Kershaw. Now, he said that one day he answered the phone to hear an elderly woman calmly and loudly say to him, "Tell Essie it is time to come home." He kept telling her that she definitely had the wrong number, but the old woman was adamant that he passed along that message. The only part of the message he actually understood was Essie. You see, Essie was the childhood nickname of his grandmother, but nobody had used it for decades. 2 hours after the phone call, he got a call from his grandmother's assisted living home telling him that his grandmother had passed away in her sleep. Now, the grandmother,
So that's tell Essie to come home? Home meaning... what, heaven or wherever, come home? Yo, that would have messed me up. First of all, I'd have probably snapped at the lady. Like, you tell Essie, who are you talking to, lady? Who are you even referring to before you figured it out? You tell her. But then you get that call, your grandma passed. She went home. Oh no, I'd have had to try to track that lady down. She had to give me some answers. She know something.
Okay, 2 hours after the phone call, he got a call from his grandmother's assisted living home telling him that his grandmother had passed away in her sleep. Now, the grandmother, her mother, had died when she was just 16 years old, and suddenly it clicked for him. Now, he believes that the voice on the phone was that of his great-grandmother, telling him to tell her daughter that after all these years, it was finally time to come home. Moving on to number 9 now, we have the...
That's crazy. So you think, imagine somebody telling that person to answer the phone again. I ain't. Last time I answered it, my grandmother just, ain't no what, no, nah, not happening. I ain't answering no phones.
Count. This one comes from Reddit, where a girl said that she has a sleep-talking recorder app on her phone. The app is just meant to be a bit of fun, to listen to anything you might just blurt out in your sleep. It only starts recording though if it detects sound, and usually she finds that it's just clips of her rolling around in bed. One night she was home alone. Her parents were out and her brother was at a friend's house. She woke up and saw that her app had a new recording. She listened to it and heard what sounded like a man with a German or perhaps Eastern European accent say, 1, 2. Now, When I first read this, I wasn't too sure about it, but then I found that she actually provided a link to the real recording. So, here it is. Let me know what you think. Well, what do you think of that? Do you think...
No, we gotta hear that again. No, ain't no way.
Well, what do you think of that? Do you think that sounds like a teenage girl in her sleep? What's your explanation for that? Let me know, please, because that's creepy. Next up at number 8 now, we have The Artist. This one was posted to Reddit as well. A girl said that during summer 5 years ago, she was home alone one night when she heard the doorbell ring. She opened the door to see a man stood there holding a large square bag. He started talking about how he was an artist and was going to open up an art gallery soon. He told her he wanted to sell her some paintings for a low price just to get things started. She wanted to be polite, and so she let him open the bag and show her the paintings. After the first few, she realized they were all nude. Actually, they were beyond nude. The first one was impressionist. The second one...
Told y'all the sickos and the crazies is out here, fam. Bruh. You selling paintings. You lucky, number one, she opened the door for you and entertained anything you had to offer, because some creepy and strange person standing at the door with a bag is not getting in. Not getting out the door open for me. And then she did, and you have the nerve to have nude photos, bro. Like, where do y'all find these people?
All nude. Actually, they were beyond nude. The first one was impressionist. The second one was more photorealistic and graphic. The paintings became more grotesque and twisted with each one. Some contained gore and bestiality. The man just stood there flicking through them and grinning at her the whole time. At one point, he stepped towards her. That's when she blurted out that she didn't have enough money to pay for them and slammed the door in his face. She peeked out of the window a while later, and he was still stood there. She shouted out that she was going to call the police, and it was only then that the artist walked away. Next up at number 7 now, we have The Note. When Reddit user M Soup was 19, her parents and brother went away for the weekend, leaving her home alone. She had a pretty rough night and was very drunk. For some reason, she decided to cut her long hair in a drunken effort to reinvent herself, because she was moving away for university the following week. When she finished cutting the hair up to her neck, she stepped out of the bathroom to find a note on the floor in the hallway. It said, "I was going to leave you a note, but I see that you are here." She tried not to freak out. She walked to her bedroom, she opened the door, and there, standing in the middle of the room, was a guy with hair over his face, just grinning. She freaked out then and began screaming, and then she recognized him. It was a guy she actually used to date 3 years before, until he ran away from home. It turned out that he heard she was moving away and just wanted to talk to her, which they did. He didn't hurt or threaten her in any way, but she found out 2 years later that he had been institutionalized with schizophrenia. Moving on to number 6 now, we have the angry.
So that's okay, right? we just gonna forget the fact that he just no. I can't even present it. I can't even present. No, that's crazy. Absolutely not.
Later that he had been institutionalized with schizophrenia. Moving on to number 6 now, we have the angry man. This one comes from user not a sugar baby but okay. He said that his family home lies on a 200-year-old street. It's a popular area for tourists, and quite often they found tourists just standing outside their windows trying to get a peek inside the old house. It's annoying and creepy, but he got used to it. One night he went upstairs to go to bed and found a guy standing in front of the window. The windows are the original casing, so they've got heavy wooden interior shutters that close at night. He closed one side because at that point he was tired and he didn't care if this strange man could see their upstairs living room. Then he went to close the other shutter, and the man gave him a furious look. It was a twisted, evil expression that was just dripping with rage and venom. He was so shocked by the man's face that he stopped in his tracks. The two stared at each other in silence for a few moments before the stranger's face changed suddenly to a creepy, leering smile. Then he walked down the street. The storyteller says he got up to check the locks of the house about 8 times over the course of that night. Next to number 5 now, we have The Beast. This one...
See, that's why you gotta go at... Well, I ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna say that because somebody do it, then they be like, oh, well, but you told me that. Nah. I ain't gonna tell y'all what I would have done in that situation because it would be bad. No.
Comes from Reddit user I Am The Cage. She did a great first person telling of this story, and this is how it goes. I was house sitting for my parents who live in the actual middle of nowhere. The closest neighbor they have is about a mile away. My parents had taken their dogs with them on vacation to the beach, so it was an eerie and silent house to be in. It was the kind of quiet that you wouldn't want to turn off the TV to, or you will be faced with nothing but the eerie sound of your breath and footsteps. On one completely pitch black night, void of any moon, I stepped onto the black porch for a quick smoke before bed. As I reached the bottom of the steps, I pulled out a cigarette from the pack and fumbled for my lighter. As I flicked the wheel, the glow of the small flame briefly lit up my surroundings. In that split second of brief illumination, it became apparent I was not alone. In a few seconds it took my brain to process the dimly lit image. I realized that I had just momentarily seen some massive brown-haired four-legged beast eating from one of the dog's bowls by the steps leading from the porch into the house, and I do mean massive, twice the size of me at least, covered in some dirty brown human-like hair from front to back. I didn't make out its head, but I knew from that glimpse of its torso that this is something that I've never seen in the wild. As I stood there in fear from what was standing not 3 feet away from me, unseen in the blackness of night, it lets out some kind of deep guttural grunt and plods off into the woods, shaking the porch as it runs away, leaving me scared and shaking in the pitch black dark with a still unlit cigarette hanging from my mouth. Very creepy story. It turns out that the beast may have been something to do with the reports of feral pigs in the area that she heard about later, but she's never been too sure. I hope it was feral pigs. Moving on to number 4 now, we have footsteps. Whiterun said that when he was a kid, he was home alone one day while his mum took his sister to school. Now after about 15 minutes, he heard the front door unlock, then open, and then came the sound of footsteps. They were slow and heavy and moved into the kitchen. He assumed it was just his mum, but even then he thought it sounded different. It sounded strange. Also, normally she would call out whenever she arrived home. To him, this sounded like a big guy with boots on. He called out to the footsteps, but was met with only silence. Now he was scared. He grabbed his dog from outside, and the two of them hid in a corner of the house. After what felt like an eternity, his mum really did come home. He told her about it, and also the fact that he didn't hear those footsteps leave the house. The door was still locked, however, so were the windows, and there was no sign that anybody had entered. Not even a mark on the carpet from a shoe. Was that person still in their home?
That's what I'm saying. You already know where I'm going. How many stories, how many times have we heard of people living in your home with you and you not even knowing? Whether it be the attic or the walls. That's what I'm thinking. Windows is locked. Doors is still locked. How did he lock it? How did he get in? He or she or whatever it. How did he get in? Came in like it was comfortable. Knew where they were going. Like, you'd be surprised at how many stories are out there of people not knowing somebody is living with them in their home. And they only come out when you're sleeping or when you leave the house. They know your schedule.
Were they even human? To this day, he has no idea what happened. And number 3 now, we have the cackle. Corby315 said that one day, when doing his laundry in his basement, one of the lights blew out. His basement was set up so that the laundry room is separated from the other side of the basement with a wall and a door. To get upstairs, you need to exit the laundry room and go through the other part of the basement. Since there was only one light on one side, it was always very dark. He finished the laundry and began to walk through the dark basement. As he exited the laundry room and got halfway through the basement, he heard a loud cackle. It was like the sound people make when they imitate a witch. In Corby's own words, he said it sounded like a witch who had been smoking for 50 years. It was a deep, raspy, hoarse cackle. That's what he heard, crystal clear, right behind him. He didn't look or hesitate, he simply ran for the stairs.
My man. Don't look back, don't just go. Instinct.
Then Corby waited upstairs until his dad got home and changed that light bulb. He has not heard the cackle since that day and has never told a single person in the house about it. Coming in number 2 now, we have the figure. This one comes from Reddit user Definitely Not Satan. That's the kind of username that Satan would actually have. Suspect. When he was 18, he house sat for his parents while they spent a week away. He fell asleep one night but was awakened by the sound of talking. He looked at the other side of the room only to see that a small figure was breathing heavily, muttering and inching itself across the room towards his bed. What? He jumped up and just ran straight past it, all while screaming for his parents.
Parents would have came home and be like, what are these gunshots in the floor?
And telling them to get out of the house right now. After his parents calmed him down and got him away from the front door, they went to go and investigate. They found no evidence of the small muttering creature. His parents didn't believe him, but he still, to this day, swears that what he saw was 100% real. This one sounds a bit...
Parents automatically think, I told y'all that boy was on something. That's what my parents told y'all, that boy was on something. Huh? Now do you believe me? We need to get him seen about. We need to get him checked out. He on that stuff. That's what they call it. You know how the old people. He on that stuff.
A bit like the stories I've heard of people seeing fairies or like tiny people around the world, especially kids seeing them in their own bedrooms. But if you guys had experiences like that. And finally, number one now, we have the Poltergeist. This one comes from Mickey on yourghoststories.com. Thank you, Mickey. He said, this story happened a few years ago, and I am sad to say that it's a little bit like The Ring. My house is said to be haunted. Well, at least that is what I say. We moved here when I was 14. Since then, I always felt like I am not alone. Some nights I can see lights go on and off in my bathroom, or I smell horrible things when I'm awake in my house. But this encounter with a ghost was the last straw. It was a cold, rainy day, and I had to let my dogs in the house before they froze to death. My mom and dad were both at work. They said that they would be coming home late, so they gave me a list of things to do in order to be safe or just to keep the house in order. But the list was long, and I was not looking forward to doing all of the things when I could be having fun playing around with nobody home. When I was watching TV, I started to get the feeling like I wasn't alone after all. I felt a cold chill on my back, and at the corner of my eye I started seeing shadows. I felt a little better when I saw that my dog was not barking or showing teeth at anything. I went up to get some lemonade out of the fridge when suddenly, as I walked forwards, it opened on demand. This is the part where it sounds like the movie The Ring. So anyway, I walked around the corner into the middle to see if I could see anything in the fridge. Nothing was there. So I just walked over there and closed it. But then I felt stupid because my lemonade was in there. After I got the lemonade and sat back down, I watched some more TV. As I started taking a sip, I could see the reflection of the kitchen in my glass. I looked at the glass trying to see the kitchen fully, and what I saw next made me have nightmares for a very long time. Looking at the glass, I suddenly saw this black creature run straight across the kitchen counter. I gasped, and right as I gasped, my dog jumped up and started barking like crazy and showing warning teeth. I leapt off my couch, and this is where things started getting freaky. All of a sudden, my dog started moving his head like he was watching something dance or run. His head was moving across the ceiling and then back down to the kitchen counter again. Then my dog moved his head and stared straight at me. I screamed because I knew that this ghost was either right beside me or right behind me. I ran to my room upstairs and locked the door. I started crying out of fear and listened to my dog bark like crazy. Then, all of a sudden, the barking stopped. My bedroom is big, but my bed is right in the corner near the window and the closet. I was sitting under the covers, waiting to hear my dog bark again. It was all quiet. Then I hear my dog scratching and barking even louder now at my door. There was only one meaning to this. The ghost was now in my room. Next thing I know, I was woken up by my mother on the kitchen counter. She asked me what had happened, and I told her the whole story. She then asked me why I was found on the counter. I told her that all I remember was passing out in my bed. She looked at me and smiled. Then she said, "It's okay, sweetie, everything is fine now." To be honest, I found the mum in that story kind of creepy. Yeah, did anyone else get the vibe that she was in on it? Perhaps she was the ghost. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on all of the stories we've talked about today. I love hearing your explanations.
What if the mom? That sucks. Like, what did I do to deserve that? You know what I'm saying? I gotta have a talk. I gotta talk with the Most High. I'd be like, what did I do? Why did I deserve that? Sheesh. Listen, man, if you're home alone, be careful. Make sure you're secure, all that type of stuff, man. And yeah, don't be afraid to get up out of there. Just because it's your home don't mean you got to stay in there if something ain't right. You know if something ain't right. Pay attention to your instincts. That's all I'm going to say. Take care of yourself, be safe, and be here for the next reaction video, all right? It's your boy L, man. Till the next one, I'm gone. Peace.